Hello, and welcome back to Unleash the Goats, where we unleash ourselves upon the Star Wars franchise with reckless abandon, and nobody quite knows what we'll say next, least of all us. I'm Nat, she, her. Angela, say hi.
Hi, I'm Angela /Faye, she, her.
Sugar, say hi.
Hi, I'm Sugar, she, her.
I am so stoked to record this episode with you guys. I'm normally really excited to record, but I have been giddy all day. We are going to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that just came out. Sugar, would you like to tell us what our lovely listeners can expect to be spoiled for in our review of this?
So obviously we are spoiling the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the movie that just got released at the end of May, that is your choice. You can continue to listen to our very non-spoiler-free review, or you can go watch that first. Because obviously The Mandalorian is what it is, and it is in the Mandoverse. There are, there's like, we might be talking spoilers for The Mandalorian itself, the show, seasons 1 through 3, Book of Boba Fett, only because there was a couple of, like, Mando-specific episodes in there, Ahsoka season 1, maybe some Rebels stuff, seasons 1 through 4, because there is a Rebels character in this movie. And then, of course, the Clone Wars movie from 2008. Not
Major
the show.
Spoilers for the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah, it's very specifically not the show, just the movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, there'll be a little spoilers for the show, because there are some characters from the show that are in the movie.
Like, what, like Embo?
Yeah, like the bounty hunter guy.
Oh.
But that's not a huge spoiler, it's just like, it's a cameo
It's not a
character.
huge spoiler.
Interesting.
But, like, we might be discussing the actual narrative of the Clone Wars movie.
The fact that he's in this movie means that he's not dead in the Clone Wars, which is a spoiler, because there's a couple times where he could have died.
I suppose.
Do you know that when that bounty hunter showed up and I just saw his silhouette, I went, "Is that fucking Cad Bane?" And I saw it wasn't.
No, Cad Bane is the cowboy.
It was a big hat.
And Embo is the samurai.
Sure, I saw a silhouette with big hat.
But it's a
and then
different
they
hat.
never explained who the fuck that was. Anyway, we'll get into it.
You didn't need to know. You didn't need to know who he
Yeah, that's Dave Filoni's samurai self-insert.
I actually really liked Embo. I'm so sorry.
A lot of people like Embo.
Cool.
It's fine.
He's
That's
way
fine.
better than Cad Bane, in my opinion. Embo is what Cad Bane wishes he was.
That's true. And to be fair, the reason Embo is better than Cad Bane is because Embo just doesn't talk.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
That helps.
The one thing that really fucks up Cad Bane is that he talks.
He's so chatty.
Anyways,
I'm so sorry.
So brief recap of this movie. Obviously, like, generally probably you've seen it if you're listening to this. But brief recap, Din Djarin, our titular Mandalorian, is now working for the New Republic. He's helping capture, like, former Imperial commanders turned warlords. He's been given a job by the New Republic to rescue Rada the Hutt from his kidnappers and return him to the Hutt clan in return for some information about another Imperial warlord. But the job then gets messy when Rada decides he doesn't want to be rescued or taken back to the Hutt clan, and Din then has to deal with all the subsequent shenanigans and consequences of that. And that is essentially what happens in this movie. Nothing else of any importance can be said. So, moving on from that then, would you like to give a brief individual review, give your rating out of 5 hugs, and any thoughts going in and whether you feel like the movie met those expectations?
Who's going first?
Angela, why don't you go first?
Okay. I saw this movie first, actually.
I was going to say, you saw it first.
Perfect. Let's go in order of who saw it.
Literally, opening day, I was in the theaters to see this movie. Not on purpose, because my other plans got canceled that night. And me and my husband were like, let's go see a movie. And then that was what was playing. So, I would give it probably 3 out of 5 hugs, which is a generous rating. This is generous because I had a great time watching it. However, it has no greater overall impacts, and no characters have an arc. So that takes away 2 stars.
One character has an arc, but it's not either of the titular characters.
Yes. Those are 2 things that I do need in a movie in order to consider it good. So I had to take stars away for those things. Overall, beautiful movie. Absolutely gorgeous. Special effects were gorgeous. Art was beautiful. Some really, really stunning vistas. Lovely. Gorgeous. Choreography, amazing. overall, I was expecting nothing from this movie. I was expecting to go in and be disappointed and be like, wow, this is what Star Wars is now. And I was happy when I left the theater. I was like, yeah, I had fun. That was an enjoyable watch. I didn't want to close my eyes at any point during this movie. So overall, I would say I enjoyed it and I recommend you go see it. However, I can't say it's good. I cannot in good conscience say that it's a good movie because it was not.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I saw it second, I think by several hours. It was not a heck of a long time. I saw it like not opening night, but opening day, so I saw it on the 22nd of May. Mostly, again, just because that kind of worked out convenience-wise for me. But, so I gave it 2.5 out of 5. I did have it at a 3. I actually knocked it down half a hug. Specifically because the ending pissed me off, and we'll get to why the ending pissed me off. But my speech about this is that I think this movie is a donut hole, in that it is airy and sweet but insubstantial. But this movie is selling itself as a jelly donut. Little denser, some extra flavors and filling, a little more complexity than it actually had. And I like a donut hole, but if I'm expecting a jelly donut and you hand me a donut hole, that's a little disappointing. I'm not going to necessarily be satisfied.
Are we saying donut hole like the little round things? Or are we saying like a traditional round?
Like the hole of a donut or a donut hole that you're eating?
The donut hole, like you get them at a store, and they're like small, and you get 20 of them.
Okay, donut holes. Okay,
yeah.
We're good. I thought you were saying it was empty on the inside, like a donut has a hole in the middle of it. And
no, the donut hole, the thing you actually
What kind of donut hole? The powdered sugar ones, the chocolate ones, or the regular glazed?
I was thinking glazed.
Okay.
But you could go any. The point is mostly that it is small and like 90% air.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be any flavor. Just in comparison to a jelly donut, where like there's more density to the donut. There's a couple extra flavors and textures happening here. But it is still a donut, right? Like it
I
would
have
still
one
be
more
a donut.
follow-up question.
Please.
What is your favorite kind of donut?
Oh, it switches on the day. I mean, I like every donut. I actually really love donuts. I think Faye knows that about me, but I love donuts.
I do.
I like a mochi donut, actually, just because I like chewy things.
Yeah.
But, like, we actually just got donuts recently for an International Donut Day on Friday, and I got some French crullers, and those were really nice, because it just has that perfect kind of, like, fried dough, kind of crunchy outside, soft inside thing to it. That was really nice. Yeah. Okay. I've had, oh god, what is the word? Cronut? The croissant donut. I've had those before, and those are actually quite nice. Like, I don't know that they're worth, like, tons of all the hype that they got, but it was actually very nice. It has a similar thing with, like, the cruller, where you have, like, the flaky layers.
Now I want a donut.
But yeah, anyway, so they sold me a jelly donut, they gave me a donut hole. And I did find that a little disappointing, because I'm just like, if I'm coming here hoping for a jelly donut, like, I might like the donut hole, but it's not what I was hoping to get. You know, everyone's telling me that I should be happy to get a donut hole, because donut holes are great, and not everything has to be a jelly donut, or an old-fashioned, or a mochi donut. Sometimes it's fine to be a donut hole, and, like, yeah, that's true, but, like, it doesn't change that, you know, I was expecting one thing and got another. So I'm really happy that people seemed to be overall satisfied with their donut hole, but I'm really still waiting for the jelly donut that I got promised. So
sorry.
So I gave it 2.5 out of 5 hugs.
That's you, Natalie. What's your score?
And Nat, who saw it yesterday.
I saw it last night, and this is... I gave it 1.5 hugs, and that was me being generous.
Fuck yes. Sorry, I'm really excited that someone was willing to... I wanted to go down to 2, but I thought I would be nice.
I have some things that I will speak positively of. Here's what I will say. Points for puppets. They weren't particularly impressive. I just think we should support practical effects with CGI. I'm a fan of that.
The puppets were so cute.
Like,
they were adorable.
They were cute. Were they on screen for too long? Yes, I will get to that. Points for music.
I liked that.
With a caveat. It was not memorable in any way, but when there was music, I was enjoying it. Until they I will give the caveat now, actually. The fucking little, the like melody that plays during the Mandalorian like theme title screen.
Yeah, the little flute, the kind of up and down flute sound.
The like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That was in every fucking song for no reason. The whole time they were like, you guys, this is the Mandalorian, in case you forgot. I didn't need that.
Yeah, we'll get to music, but I agree that I think it was a little overutilized, which does lessen the impact of getting to hear it.
Yeah. And the last like half point that I gave is that they have a really good cast. I do not think that they used that cast to their best ability. I think that was a pretty poor performance, like, across the board, and it's not their fault. But
Nope.
I am way more impressed with those actors in literally every other thing that they have been in. So it was very funny because we talked about this before, because it's been like a couple weeks since you guys have seen it, and I thought that maybe as a casual fan, I would enjoy it more because I had lower expectations, and somehow I didn't. Somehow I went in, and the whole time, like, my overall impression is that this felt like this movie was created so that they could make a ride at Disneyland for it. And I bet it'll be a kick-ass ride. This movie is not kick-ass. And that's my overall, those are my overall impressions.
There was this one scene where, like, they're watching the cage fight, and Mandalorian goes, "Ooh, impressive," while, like, Grogu's eating popcorn. I was like, okay, so they filmed this for movie theaters to use in their, like, B-roll, like, shit before the movies. Because that's exactly what they're using it for. Yeah. And, like, it doesn't really make sense for them to have this scene in the movie itself. It was just there so they can use it in all their promotional material.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And I was annoyed by that. There was a lot of, like, we made this for promotional material shit in this movie. That's
so true. I will say that maybe the reason your score is a little lower than Faye's and mine, just based on what Faye said about her expectations and what you said about yours, is you went in expecting to like it. And I think both Faye and I went in expecting to hate it.
Yes, agree.
And so you and I landed pleasantly surprised, and Nat landed kind of, like, disappointed.
I think that I didn't expect it to be a good movie. I expected to have, like, I can watch bad movies and have fun. I didn't have fun watching this. Like the first, it was great. I went to see it with my partner, and we always say that our favorite thing is to have a good time together. Our second favorite thing is to have a bad time together that we can then talk shit about for the rest of our lives. Ooh, and so after the movie, he turned to me and he said, "It's our second favorite thing." Also, oh my god, you guys, I have to tell you, to set the scene, there was a woman sitting next to me in the theater, this little old grandma, who had a cackle. Every time she left, she would cackle. And I am a person who cackles, so not a problem. However, the things that she was cackling at were all of the Minions previews. Every time a minion was doing a shenanigan on screen, she was fucking losing her mind. And I was like, oh my god, this is not that funny. Anyway. So, Sugar, I did want to ask you.
Yes.
As the person who knows more about movies than I do, are opening credits coming back?
Oh, specifically because they did it in this one?
This one had opening credits.
Those opening credits, they were pissing me off. I was like, first of all, Star Wars got rid of opening credits. Star Wars was the first one to do it. They got rid of opening credits. Why is it bringing them back? I don't like them. Take them back. Put it back where it came from.
My assumption is that opening credits happen still in TV shows. Mm-hmm. And so because this is a movie from a TV show, that it's maybe a little bit of an homage to the fact that they are doing a movie from something that's been a TV show until now. But no, as far as I'm aware, opening credits, like, there's places where I think people are doing it for aesthetic reasons, which is what's happening here, but it's not going to become everything. Like, they're going to remain at the end.
Yeah. Also, did not have an opening crawl. How dare they?
Yeah, to clarify, when we say opening credits, we don't mean the Star Wars crawl. They had a single screen that had a little, this is where we are in the timeline recap.
I understand, like, it's a TV show thing, but then they didn't have the artwork at the end over the credits. And that really annoyed me, because I have to deal with the opening credits, I have to deal with not having an opening crawl, and then I don't get the artwork, even though there was multiple scenes where I could clearly see that you had done artwork for this, and then you had made the scene based on the artwork. Yeah. I wanted the artwork. I was excited for the artwork, and then it wasn't there, and I was very annoyed.
And Mandalorian always has, like, the concept art over the full end credits in the show.
Yeah.
What I will say about the crawl is that I think Disney has decided that the only films that get the crawl are, like, official Skywalker Saga films. So, like, Solo and Rogue One also never got a crawl.
Okay.
But Solo had a crawl.
To be fair, I've seen Solo once, and I have zero interest in seeing it again. But my understanding is that the only films that get crawls are official Skywalker Saga films, and that the other ones do not.
They just forgot, and they were like, "This is a convenient excuse for us."
No, I feel like I remember seeing that they were saying that like we're not going to do a crawl outside of that. I mean, I think like some of the Lego ones might do like a parody crawl or something, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
So I kind of tossed this under our first section, actually, for CGI and lighting. So we are discussing the fact that they were credits at the beginning of the film. I didn't mind that too much for me. Like, obviously, like, I have seen older films that had beginning, credits in the beginning. So it wasn't, like, the worst thing in the world. What I will say about credits, and we'll kind of get more into this in performers, but Brandon Wayne and Lateef Crowder both got given top billing alongside Pedro Pascal. And if you don't know who Brandon Wayne and Lateef Crowder are, they are the body double and stunt double, respectively, for Din Djarin. So Din Djarin as a character kind of comes together through three people. Mm-hmm. And you need all three of them in order to make Din Djarin the sort of, like, iconic character that he has become. But obviously body and stunt doubles often do not get given the same sort of credit that the voice actor might, or, if there's a celebrity face that comes out every so often, then, that person tends to get associated with the character the most. But they chose to give Brandon and Lateef more emphasis this time, which is really nice to see. Yeah. About the opening text, you mentioned that we didn't get a crawl, but there was like a kind of a text card that showed up that did essentially the same thing as a crawl. For me, it kind of looked like a mix between like maybe the Clone Wars text style and the typical opening crawl. And I was wondering if there was like, I haven't heard anybody say so, but I was wondering if there was maybe an intentional homage there to the Clone Wars sort of title card stuff that they used to do. And then the one CGI thing that I kind of pointed out that was very noticeable that I actually kind of thought was cute was that there was some intentional stop motion happening in several places, both during the sort of ATST and AT-AT action sequence, as well as the big droid guards on Nal Hutta. Mm-hmm. That you could tell it was stop motion and not just basic CGI. Okay. And given that The Mandalorian obviously is very known for using practical effects and things like that, I kind of appreciated that, because I think stop motion is not something that the show has used particularly often, but we got to see it here, and it was a nice sort of, obviously a throwback a little bit to the stop motion AT-AT fight on Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, but also just to stop motion in general.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't think there were any issues. I mean, like Faye said, it generally looked fairly nice as far as I could tell. There was nothing that was like, this looks really bad.
I really liked the animation / special effects they did for the Hutts. Like the fight scenes that they did with them, and like just like how they animated, how they moved, and how they fought was really cool. I really liked their fight scenes with Rada specifically, but also when Rada was fighting the twins. I just thought they looked really nice. Like, it looked really, not realistic necessarily, but it looked like a real fight. It didn't look fake.
Yeah, I tossed that under the fight choreography section, but we can talk about it now. I liked all the thought that they put into how a Hutt would move. And fun fact, I believe Guillermo del Toro was a large part of the reason behind that. Just like gave a lot of feedback about like what he thought a Hutt might do. So like, for example, there's a lot of arm use that we actually see in this movie that I don't think we've really seen before, where like we see Hutts literally dragging themselves along the ground sometimes. We saw Rada kind of sort of like uses tail almost like a seal might, kind of galumphing on land a little bit, doing a little bit of worm movement to kind of move himself faster. He literally throws his weight around sometimes because he knows he's big. He's not fast, but he's big and he can crush things if he just lands on them. And so there's a lot of and he rolls. We see him roll a couple of times and use his weight that way. So I really appreciated the clear thought that went into how Hutts can move and like what a genuinely good Hutt fighter would look like, because obviously we have seen Hutts move before in the cartoons, because Zero the Hutt does move quite a bit, but he's usually moving pretty slowly. He gave him more like slow slug movements in comparison to Rada. And so I did appreciate the clear thought that went into that. The one thing I will say I liked less about the triple Hutt fight scene at the end is that they're all colored pretty similarly, and so there was a point where I was like, I can't quite tell who's on top here. I can't really see who's hitting who. It's a little hard to tell them apart, and so that was the one place where I was perhaps less enthused by the CGI, because the CGI design choices for them made them look a little too similar for that scene to be coherent the way I would have liked.
Yeah, I would have liked the markings on like the twins to be like more, and to have more of them like overall their whole body kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like full body tattoos, whatever. But I mean, it still looked fine.
Yeah. I didn't have anything to say about costumes. Does anyone want to talk about costumes?
I really liked the costumes for the little guys, and also the swamp dude, whose name I cannot find anyway.
Gatory. His name is Gatory.
His name is Gator. That makes
Gatory.
sense.
It's Gator with an I.
Yeah, it is.
Or Gator I, maybe, but.
And I did think they did a good job on Embo's costume. I thought Embo's costume looked really cool. So overall, there wasn't anything particularly spectacular costume-wise.
No.
It was all pretty standard Star Wars fare.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they looked nice. I liked the planet that they were on for Rada.
Yeah.
But I did feel like it was a little by the numbers, I guess. Like, there was nothing really distinct about it.
Yeah, I think, didn't they say it was supposed to be, like, I think someone said it was supposed to be Chicago, sort of. Like, it was supposed to be vaguely Chicago.
I guess, but it was, like, very Coruscant. Like, it was pretty much the same as every other.
It had a certain amount of Coruscant underworld to it, yeah.
The planet that he went to get Rada from?
Yeah.
The name is similar to Chicago. I can't
I didn't even remember.
I can't remember what it was, but it sounds like when they said it, I was like, are they saying the word Chicago right now? Like, it's not subtle.
But that's true. I don't think I even picked up on that, but that's very funny.
I liked the what the fuck is it called? The manor, I guess, that they went to hunt down Commander Coin in.
They're at for like
cool.
2 seconds.
The beach one. I felt that setting was actually interesting and like kind of fun for them. But overall, like, there wasn't a lot of like distinct stuff besides Nal Hutta. I thought Nal Hutta looked really cool. I really liked the design for Nal Hutta.
I was gonna say, the only location I was like invested in was Nal Hutta, and I was like, oh, like, it's beautiful, you know, like, it's actually interesting to make like, Nal Hutta really gross. Pretty. Yeah, it's gross in certain places, but like that moment where the shot that was in all the trailers where Grogu is meditating on a branch is like absolutely gorgeous. Like, Nal Hutta is not like a nasty ass planet just because it's a swamp. Like, swamps can be pretty too. And I did appreciate like the sort of set design that went into that, even though it's obviously like probably an entirely CGI set. But
no, yeah, it looks really nice. I liked that. I liked the creature design. It looked really cool. Like, I liked the snake. I liked the bugs. I liked the different fucking creatures that Rada was fighting in the pit. They all looked nice and interesting.
The chess piece guys.
Yeah, the chess piece guys.
That wasn't something I clocked, by the way.
That was hilarious.
That was my partner being like, "Did you notice that it's like the chessboard that they're on in A New Hope?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about right now?" And he pulls up a picture, and like all of the aliens that Roidy is fighting is like, they're all from this chess set. And the thing about the visuals is that, like, I think they did a pretty good job. I was not invested in the story, and so like,
well, the story
a lot of it I couldn't care about. There was
nothing to be invested in.
I got an hour in, and I was like, okay, I'm here for it. And then all of the aliens showed up at once, and I am a huge fan of put more aliens in your Star Wars. But they weren't actual characters. They were just monsters that they threw out there. And I was like, no, you did too many at once. And I can't appreciate all of them separately.
I did enjoy that he was like, let's put all these aliens in this pit, and then our main security is one electrified fence. That's
that's all connected.
It's all connected. There's no backups. There's no like, no redundancy.
And one of your monsters happens to be like an electric monster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was hilarious. He was so stupid for that. That was
pretty true to life. I think.
He got.
Welcome to the Empire.
Yeah, very, very true to life, honestly. That was great. I liked that they were like, look, we should leave now. Yeah, we should leave. Also, I loved Rada. Rada was honestly the best part of the movie. Rada was the best part of the movie, and we will get to characters. We're not done with our visuals yet. I'm so sorry. He also looked great. Like, they did a good job of making him look like a young Hutt, I guess, if that makes sense, without making him look too weird or cheesy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I liked that you could kind of tell that he was maybe a little bit younger, but he also still looks very much like an adult Hutt, too.
Yeah. He was definitely not, like, an adolescent, but he was also not old.
Yeah. I will, like, again, kind of point out the fight choreography that Lateef Crowder remains insanely incredible at his job. Like, you know, the choreography, the fight scenes in this that Din Djarin is in are so good.
So good.
Like, some of the best scenes in this are just getting to watch Lateef Crowder bounce around and do his thing and look absolutely sick badass. Which for me is proof positive how important and vital stunt doubles can be in making fight scenes look good. And there might be some people and some other shows in the Mandoverse that could take a couple pointers from this about how vital stunt doubles can be and how you should be using them more. And I mean, granted, you have the benefit of a character who's in a helmet, and so you don't have to figure out how to, like, hide your stunt double's face. But like...
Perhaps a character who is painted completely orange and has a giant headpiece could get away with a lot, considering that, you know, they have stunt doubles for every other character ever.
Maybe.
Theoretically.
Except who can say? Except for Anakin and Obi-Wan, who are played by guys who may as well be stunt doubles.
That's true.
They've put the work in, though.
They put the work in. But there are perhaps at least one character that we know of who could fucking use a stunt double. And I think that this is just a really good example of how important stunt doubles and obviously body doubles, you know, Brandon Wayne is doing a lot of work as well to kind of give Din Djarin a certain amount of physicality beyond the fight scenes, but how important that can be to making a character really feel, you know, real.
I'm just saying, if Christopher Lee had a stunt double and nobody whined and nobody complained and it looked realistic, why can't anybody else?
Exactly.
Christopher Lee had one. No, well, it's no problem. They did all the work. All good.
Tons of people use stunt doubles. It is so normal to
very common
to get people.
Not even uncommon in Star Wars.
It's not even uncommon in Star Wars. It's so normal to have a stunt double. And yeah, I think there should be some more stunt doubling in the Mandoverse because it looked really, really good in this particular.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Nothing stood out for me about the cinematography personally. I know you liked like the one shot that showed up in every trailer with the dragon snake.
Was that okay? I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch the trailers. I didn't watch the trailers. I liked the dragon snake all by itself. I was like, that's so cool. Look at him. He's beautiful. He's gonna eat him. I love him.
Yeah, the dragon snake is very cool as a character design. It is not the first time a dragon snake has showed up, but it's the first time I think in live action that a dragon snake has shown up. But yeah, awesome. I mentioned that like all the interesting shots are already in the trailer anyway. So if you happen to have seen the trailer, you're not going to get anything particularly like, wow, look at that cool shot out of this movie. Like it's all already in 2 minutes of trailers, you know. So I wasn't like, you know, blown away by any of the shots in this. Like it's generically nice, but it's not really groundbreaking cinematography.
Yeah.
Nothing that's like trying to be particularly different or interesting. I have a small aside. Okay. Since we're talking about the snake or whatever. So, the Mandalorian thing, creed, is that you can't remove your helmet in front of another person, right? So, does it count if it's like a monster? Like, does the snake count?
Well, we had an exception for a droid. So, I'm going to assume that something like a dragon snake would not count because it's not like...
A person?
A person.
What about Rada, who's unconscious?
So
Rada doesn't see him, so it doesn't count.
Well, is it because he's unconscious? Like,
yeah,
So we'll
doesn't
get back
see
to this a little bit later too, but like they're retconning the helmet rule in this movie specifically so that we can see Pedro's face again. But my understanding from the show is that it used to be you just can't have your helmet removed, period. It doesn't matter. Like, it wasn't really about letting people see your face as much as it was about the helmet being removed. And they're changing that to people seeing your face because that is an easier to get away with rule. Because he can say, like, well, I'll just kill the people who saw my face, or this thing was just a snake. So, and kind of get away with it that way. But before it was more about the helmet being removed, which is why it's like the reasoning behind it didn't matter. It was just, did the helmet come off your head, completely. And they seem to be sort of moving further away from that so they can show their actors' faces a little bit more.
I will say, that is a stupid rule. I'm so sorry, Mandalorians. That's a dumbass rule. There's like so many different reasons.
It's not even the Mandalorians in general. It's just the Children of the Watch.
Yeah. It's a stupid rule. Like, that. I'm sorry. That's so dumb. There's so many reasons someone might take your helmet off, and most of them you can't control. Like,
yeah.
You might need it to survive. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
It's one of those where, like, I would be fine with a rule if it was a little bit more forgiving. Right?
Yeah.
Where if it was like, okay, yes, you're supposed to keep it on, but obviously if you have to take it off to live, or if it's forced off of you, or if you're doing it to save someone else, like, there's exceptions to this, right? But the fact that it's so intensely unforgiving is what makes it feel very strange. And kind of like, this isn't great. But moving back in, we're going to end our sort of visuals and sound section with sound and music. We mentioned already that they used the Mando flute motif a lot, especially in the beginning, and it was definitely overkill, and I would have appreciated having it be more earned, that, like, he earns his theme song more than just having it show up every time he does anything. And I personally wish that we'd gotten some more of the other sort of motifs that we know, like the Rebellion or the Force motif. Something from Rebels, maybe, when Zeb first shows up. Like, Zeb's first appearance is actually, like, I think we get a Mando flute motif pretty closely aligned with Zeb's first cameo appearance. And I was like, really? It's Zeb. We just got to see Zeb, who is not from The Mandalorian. Why am I hearing the flute noise? And it was kind of just like, I would have appreciated utilizing the music in a way that felt like, again, more connecting it more to the rest of the Star Wars universe, something that this movie is not doing very well.
Aside from the flute thing, I did like that they were doing, like, some new music. Like, I liked the Cantina music. I liked some of the... if we took out the flute stuff, I think the soundtrack honestly was pretty okay.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
It's not memorable, but it's fine.
The best ever, but I thought it was fun, and I liked that it wasn't just, like, reusing the same thing all of the time, like the exact same, like, songs you've heard in every other Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But I do wish they'd done a little less on the Mando theme, because, like, I can see him. I know who he is.
I fucking get it. He's got one of the most iconic fucking silhouettes in Star Wars now.
You keep calling him Mando. I get it.
I fucking get it, guys.
Yeah. They don't call him Din. They call him Mando.
They do call him Mando much more in this one, I think, again, likely as a result of trying to make it less connected to things, and the name Din Djarin is perhaps less known to people, and so you don't get very much of that.
Can I jump to characters? Wow.
Yes.
We're
so
on
I
this?
think, we can maneuver into performances.
Speaking of names, they don't say Zeb's name until like 25 minutes in.
Yeah,
and I was fucking pissed.
Sucks to be you.
Then I ended the movie and I was like, I still don't know who this bitch is. I love him. I'm obsessed with him. Like, this movie succeeded in one thing, and it's me bumping Rebels up on my list of next watches. But, like, they gave me absolutely no reason to care about him. I don't know who this man is. I don't know who he is to you. I don't know who he is to the Rebellion. I don't know what's going on with the Rebellion.
I don't even know why he's working with Mando. Like, what is he doing with Mando? Like, are they assigned together? Are they friends? How did they meet? Like,
that's none of your business, apparently. They're not going to tell you.
Din's connection to the New Republic is actually something that happened off screen. I don't believe he actually starts
we don't even know why he's working with them.
Well, we know why, in the sense that, like,
but we don't know, like, how this started, I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you have to assume that he basically just kind of started taking up bounties, and that the Imperial Warlord ones started popping up and he took them. But, like, that's something that all happened off screen. Like, him working for the New Republic is new for this movie, and that is something that we have never seen him do before, even if you have watched all of the episodes of the show. We didn't talk about that, by the way. I've seen all of those. I've seen all of them. Faye, I think you've seen 2 seasons. Nat, I think you've seen 1.
Of what?
I think I saw the
of
first
Mandalorian,
episode
yeah.
of season
Yeah.
3.
I think I watched a couple
okay, so
episodes of
Faye
season
has
2.
not finished season 3. You saw
I never
maybe an
finished
episode or
season
2. And I think we all watched Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Nat, I can't remember. Nat did not see Book of Boba Fett. So Faye and I
No.
have seen the Mando episodes of the Book of Boba Fett as well. So there's different levels of context here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do have something. Okay,
Yeah.
actually. Okay, the fucking ship. They replaced the stupid ass ship because the ship was stupid.
Oh.
Why was he ever in a Naboo fighter? It was a horrible idea. Thank God they replaced the Naboo fighter. I was
He
so
does still
happy.
have it, though. He
I don't
still
care.
has it.
I don't care. As long as they're not trying to tell me that a fucking bounty hunter is gonna fly around in a one-seater to collect bounties.
That's
that was the
hilarious.
stupidest thing that had ever
was really
happened
dumb.
ever. And I was so happy when they replaced his ship. I was so pleased. I was like, thank God. Someone was like, guys, this doesn't make any sense. We can't do anything with this. Yes!
Yeah.
Why did you do that in the first place? It was a horrible idea. I was so happy. I was so pleased. They kept the paint job. Whatever. I don't care. But I love the new ship so much. I was so happy that they
I will
fixed
say
their
it
mistake.
seems really dumb that they just put him right back in the exact same ship. Like, I'm
I
like,
don't care.
great.
I was
mean,
so happy that he
like,
had a
I
different
understand
ship.
that, but I'm like, I think we could have been a little bit more interesting here. Like, you could have given him a bigger ship that wasn't literally the exact same ship that you just destroyed at the end of season 2. Like, that was supposed to be a big deal. What?
I kind of wanted him to have the gunship. The gunship looked awesome. Like the gun
The one that Zeb was usually flying around in?
No. The one, the one that he crashed into the palace.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. But
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was like, I was like, okay, like, I get what we're doing, but also this is literally, again, just returning to form and doing nothing unique or interesting, when, like, you could have given him a bigger ship that just wasn't, you know, the exact same ship that you destroyed, because that feels like it takes away the impact of that moment, which for someone who's been watching this show and is more invested in it, I'm like, wait, but, like, you destroyed that, and that was a big deal that you destroyed that ship, and now you're just giving him back the exact same ship. Like, we could have had him move on to something that would still work for bounty hunter work, but isn't literally the exact same ship with a different paint job. Like, it's just kind of a lazy, dumbass decision. So, like, even though it's better than the Starfighter, it still is kind of dumb. But, yes, moving back into the character stuff, the first section I have in here is representation, because I do just like to kind of go over that. Nat mentioned most of our characters are aliens, and the ones that aren't aliens are
Love
usually a puppet, or they are covered by a helmet. So
Amazing.
the concept of representation in this movie is a little bit moot, because you can't see very many human faces, and most of the
Yeah.
ones that you do see are white. But Pedro Pascal obviously is still here as Latino representation. You do get to see his face because they take the helmet off again. I believe the first Imperial Warlord that we get to see in the opening sequence is played by a Dominican actor. But he is also killed within the first 5 minutes, so, like, who cares?
there's also the pilot guy. He's in like every single one.
So, yeah, so what I was going to
the
get
Kim's
to...
Convenience
yes,
guy?
you're talking... Yeah, the Kim's Convenience guy. You're talking about Carson Teva.
Yes,
the character's
Carson
name is
Teva.
Carson Teva. But
yeah.
what I will say is the scene that stood out to me representation-wise was that final group of Republic pilots that comes to help Din on Nal Hutta is very nearly no white men at all. Mm-hmm. Would anyone like to take a guess as to who our white man was?
Dave Filoni with his fuck-ass cowboy hat. When they lingered on his cowboy hat for like 20 seconds, I was like,
You were
oh
like,
my
why?
God.
I know. So we were
Why?
this close to getting a Republic, like, rebel... I mean, they're not a pilot group, but a Republic pilots group with 0 white people in it, because what we had was
White
2
men.
Asian
White men specifically.
White men specifically, We had two Asian men, one of which is Carson Teva, who is a character that is recurring, a white woman, Sigourney Weaver, a black man, and an alien who is voiced by a Jewish man. So
we were so close.
This close to having no white.
You ruined it again for me,
group at all. Yeah. And that actually did feel
as a minority since he's a cowboy.
But he's not wearing the hat when he is being a pilot because he has to have a helmet on.
I guess that's true.
But yeah, so that did feel significant to me. That felt like an intentional choice, despite the fact that Filoni had to shoehorn himself in there. So that was a sort of like, you know, representation moment that did stand out to me, and that didn't get like overemphasized, like, you know, like the Marvel, you know, all the women superhero moments where they kind of really ham-handedly kind of shove that in your face of like, look, we're doing an all-women moment. You know, this one didn't feel like it was kind of being shoved, but I noticed as we were going through that I was like, oh, Asian, woman, you know, alien, black, and then Filoni. But I was like, oh, this is really cool for a hot second. So that did feel significant to point out. And then, of course, just lots and lots of aliens. There are, I think, more alien roles than actually full human speaking roles. Between Zeb, Grogu, all the Hutt characters, the Enzellans, the Gladiator monsters, Hog's
the
Breath.
Little shopkeeper guy, the Martin Scorsese cameo.
Yes, the Martin Scorsese cameo. Whose name I don't recall. Did I put Martin Scorsese in here? Oh, I straight up left him off the character list. That's on me.
Well, you know.
It's okay.
I think it was Hugo
Martin,
was his character's name. No, it was like Hugo something, because it's basically like they made it related to Favreau's cameo character that he had in something else.
Okay.
It was like same alien style, but different character. And, you know, fans have been complaining about a lack of aliens in recent Star Wars live-action stuff, especially Andor and Kenobi, so this might have been an intentional reaction to that critique. Because it's not like Mandalorian never has alien characters in it. It does usually have a significant amount.
It often does, yeah.
But, like, it's not this many. It's not this intense about how many alien characters are in here as, like, the main speaking roles.
I liked the henchman for Commander Coin, the big
Hog's
guy.
Breath.
Hog's Breath? Yeah, Hog's Breath was really cool. He looked awesome.
Yeah, he definitely has a very, like devilish kind of look. I think he's the same... well, no, I think he might be different.
There's a Jedi, I think, who has the same species.
I was going to say, like, he might be the same species as Saesee Tin, but I can't remember if it's exactly the same. I can't remember what the name of that species is.
Hog's Breath, Star Wars.
But there were no real casting issues that I know of. The only thing that I decided to point out was that, like, they made a big deal about how Jeremy Allen White was voicing Rada, but, like, his voice is so modified that if you didn't know it was him, you would not know it was him. Yeah. So I'm kind of struggling to understand why he got cast in this role and bother with the celebrity stunt cast when you're not going to recognize the voice anyway. Like, there's really no point in celebrity stunt casting if you're not going to recognize the celebrity.
I mean, I hope he had a good time.
I'm sure he had a good time.
Master Saesee is the same species. Although
and species is Iktochi. That's right. Yeah.
Although I got the impression from Master Saesee that his horn things were more like the Leku, where they're like flexible, but they appeared to be more like you could break them off.
Clearly,
which was different.
It's broken. Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But I think that's also based in like comics and stuff. So.
That's true. In terms of acting, I felt like the material was pretty insubstantial, so there's no really big emotional places where the actors are required to do a lot of emoting. The music is doing a crap ton of heavy lifting during the heavier scenes to help get across the emotions of a puppet and a masked man, or an unconscious man. And, you know, Pedro does fine during the 30 seconds where he's actually got his face showing, but, like, there isn't really a lot of very genuine emotion happening, like, because it's just not doable in with the writing that they were given.
I mean, I will say that Rada was doing a great job of delivering some emotional scenes, because Rada was very emotional and was really good at, like, getting that across. I did not recognize Jeremy Allen's voice.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying, that, like, it was impossible to recognize his voice.
About Martin Scorsese. Whatever.
No, I got Martin Scorsese immediately.
I don't know who Martin Scorsese is beyond that one time he said that Marvel films weren't films, which was very funny.
Martin Scorsese is an extremely well-known and well-regarded.
I know, but I don't recognize him. I don't recognize him by, like, sight or face. Like, he's like Christopher Nolan to me. I don't know what that man looks like. I don't care.
You're like, I know this name, but
I generally knew I definitely know what he looks like, but obviously you can't see his face in this, and I kind of picked up on the voice, and I had to turn to I watched it with my father, and so I turned to my dad, and I was like, that's him, right? That's Martin. He was like, oh yeah.
I knew that I knew him, but I didn't clock who it was until you said it. I think that Jeremy Allen White did fine. My problem was not with how he was delivering the lines, it was the lines themselves, because did you know that his father is Jabba the Hutt? Don't worry! He'll remind you! Don't worry! He is his own man. He says that 10 times. It's so frequent.
I'm my own man now.
I'm my own man. My dad was Jabba the Hutt, but I'm my own man now. Like, dude, I get it. Like, I want to like you so bad, you need to stop saying these two lines. But I think for most, like, these are good actors, and, like, so many of their lines just felt, like, completely flat, and I just, like, didn't have any reaction to what they were saying.
This is something that we're seeing come up a lot in the Mandoverse, where they are bringing in these really genuinely wonderful actors that we have seen do incredible work in other shows, and then they hit the Mandoverse and they've got nothing.
They just have nothing to work with.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell if it's the writing or the directing or both, but it might be both, given that it's usually the same people working on everything. And, you know, like Sigourney Weaver too. Like, Sigourney Weaver is Sigourney Weaver. Like, this woman can do so much. And I really, really felt like Sigourney Weaver is just doing Sigourney Weaver in a Star Wars location and a Star Wars costume. Like, I didn't get the character Colonel Ward out of it, like, much like you were saying with Zeb, where like you're like, he seems kind of fun, but I have no idea what he is or like who he is as a person, and how, like, you know, you get no personality out of him other than him just being kind of boisterous, you know, is the best you're getting. And to be fair, like, you know, the actor doing him has been playing him for about 10 years now or something. So he's got a little bit more that he can kind of dig into there than Sigourney Weaver can with her original character. But there's a lot of that where it feels like the material is not allowing for anything exciting in the acting department.
Yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars has had a dialogue problem for a while now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true.
They can't seem to fix it. Like, I don't know what's wrong.
They absolutely can. It really just depends. Like, I mean, we got plenty of good acting out of
trying to fix it, but like, they have a hard. This is like the main pitfall that they end up falling into all the time. Is they always end up having these decent scripts, okay stories, and just shit dialogue.
Yeah, but sometimes the acting can shine through the bad dialogue. Like, a lot of people liked Ewan McGregor's acting, even if his dialogue was a little stilted. Right, you could tell that Natalie Portman was giving some good performances through some stilted dialogue. And of course, people have gone back now and found some genuinely great acting out of Hayden Christensen, despite some extremely stilted dialogue. Like, It's not impossible to still act well, but what we're seeing in the Mandoverse is that we're not getting either. You know, that the dialogue is still stilted, but the acting is really, like, flattened.
It's really gone down, like, the Marvel route of just, like, I'm just here, man. I'm getting a paycheck to be on set today, I guess. Like, it's just not good.
Which is too bad, because I feel like some of these actors are genuinely excited to be here. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think that... And we know that they can do better, and so it feels like they're being intentionally... like, it's not just that they're not excited to be here and they're phoning it in. It feels like it's a directing problem where they're being intentionally stifled.
Yeah, which I think is also part of, like, the whole... I could be completely wrong here, but there's, like, been a vibe in the last, like, 5 or so years from, like, big things like Marvel, Disney, and stuff, where when they have a project like this, they want a middle ground performance out of people. They don't want something over the top. They don't want something crazy. They don't want something groundbreaking. They just want something that grandma will not object to on the screen. And, like, you don't have to explain it too much to get the nuances. You just, this is what you see is what you get. And I don't like that. I feel like it doesn't really give you good quality. It gives you PBJs, but, like, it doesn't give you an actual meal. Yeah,
for sure. I think that, like, within Star Wars, we're getting this out of the Mandoverse, but, like, anything that's not Mandoverse does not have this problem.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Like, Andor doesn't have this problem. Andor has some amazing dialogue.
Andor has incredible dialogue and obviously incredible performances.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Kenobi show had some pretty strong performances, even if not all of its dialogue was like the strongest dialogue you'd ever seen, but like it had some really, like, it didn't feel like the actors weren't being allowed to act, you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I dislike Rosario Dawson, like, Rosario Dawson can act much better than she's being allowed to do as Ahsoka.
Yeah, she's a great actor. Like, I think the first time I really noticed her was on Daredevil. She was amazing on Daredevil. She was so good. I loved her character. I still do. Like, I know she can do better. And, like, she just does not get a lot to work with. And she does not do so much with it. She's just has a very wooden performance. But everybody does on that show. It's crazy.
Everyone does, which means you can tell it's a directing problem. That they are being intentionally told not to act, essentially. And it's like, guys, if you're gonna tell your actors not to act, what are we doing here?
Why are you paying the big bucks for the big names if you're not gonna let them do anything, bro?
Why are you making a movie or a show if you're not gonna let your actors act? Like, just write a book then. So the last thing we'll touch on with character stuff is cameos. Just kind of questioning, like, do you feel like the cameos fit into the world organically, or were they kind of shoehorned in? For character cameos, do you feel like it was difficult to kind of relate to them? Obviously, we've kind of touched on this with Zeb a little bit, that you felt like it was difficult to connect to Zeb because they're not making any mention of his Rebels background at all.
No.
Or why he's here,
and so you have no concept of, so a lot of the depth of his character is absolutely gone.
Yeah. I would also mention, I feel like when Mando goes to the Hutt twins and they're like, can you go find our nephew? Here's a picture of him. They show his, like, baby picture from the Clone Wars movie so that we can all go, oh, it's Stinky. And then that never comes up again. And I think that feels like a character cameo to me. They're like, oh, it's this guy from this movie that maybe some of you have seen. But don't worry, we're not going to explain anything.
No, Rada is absolutely a character cameo. And I do think that the fact that they don't mention the adventure from Clone Wars, the movie, at all, is a travesty.
But yeah, when he rescues him, when he's like talking to him, and he's like, no, like, he could have, like, mentioned something about, like, being kidnapped before, or like always being in danger, but like being helped out by the good people of the galaxy. Like,
or like the first time he sees Grogu do something with the Force and be like, oh yeah, like I remember, you know, being rescued by Jedi when I was a kid, like, you know, something, right? Like there could have been something there. Just a slight mention of that, just to kind of, but no, there's no connection to that. Nothing for Rebels or the Ahsoka show for Zeb. I'm a little unclear as to where this is set in the timeline in comparison to the Ahsoka show. So, like, I'm not clear on if we're supposed to believe that Thrawn and Ezra are in the galaxy at the moment that this adventure is happening, or if that's not supposed to have happened yet.
I don't think they thought about it.
I think they intentionally made it nebulous so they can just slide it in wherever they want.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true, but, like, that feels weird to me, where I'm like, they're not referencing it at all, which makes me feel like it has to have happened before, because those are two really big things. Like, you know, and you could connect it pretty easily, right? Like, oh, we know that Thrawn's back in the galaxy, and that's a little scary, so that's why we're really going after these Imperial warlords, because we need Thrawn to make sure he has no allies that he can call on.
You don't even have to explain who the fuck Thrawn is. You can just say that. That can be a title card thing. There's this player that's back. Don't need to explain why.
With the looming threat of Thrawn, the hunt for the warlords is on.
And that's it. That's so good. They should give you so much money.
I'll type it out in 20 seconds. Pay me $1 million.
Yeah, and Zeb just being like, oh, you know, like, my friend just came back. We thought he was dead, but he managed to have just returned, and, you know, I haven't been able to see him yet, but I have to finish this out. You know, something to kind of give you a little bit of backstory, or just something for the fans to be like, you know? But there's no connection. That's clearly very deliberate. I think they've said that that's deliberate, but it does make some of these character cameos feel like, well, then why are we bringing this character in to be here if you're not going to utilize the character as the fans are going to know them, and you're treating them like they're an original character here as opposed to someone that already has a backstory. In terms of regular cameos and whether they fit organically or not, could have done without the Hat Man.
I didn't need the Hat Man.
No one needed the Hat Man.
What's the Hat Man?
It's
Is that
Filoni.
Filoni.
When?
Filoni. So he wore the cowboy hat. There's a moment where they walk into the bar at the rebel base, and there's just a shot of a guy in a cowboy hat, just a white man.
Oh,
in a
and that's
cowboy hat.
Filoni?
That's Filoni.
I don't know what Filoni looks like, and my life is
That's
better
what he
for
looks
it.
Your life is better for it.
If there's a
But-
man in a cowboy hat, assume that it's
If there is a white man in a cowboy
Yes.
hat, it's Filoni.
Cad Bane?
If there's a blue man in a cowboy hat, it's Cad Bane.
or is Cad Bane just blue Dave Filoni?
That's yeah. But and then that same character obviously shows up as a pilot during the scene. So he did technically get 2 cameos, but he gets
We
called the
didn't
Hat
need
Man
that.
by people who like him less.
What I will say about this movie is that if this movie had been a video game, I would have loved it.
This is so true. This could be an easy video game.
It would have been a really good video game,
You know? Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Like, you had some, like,
Yeah.
random fetch quests on the side. Like, this is, like, a section, but this is, like, the main plot of the video game. There's some other stuff you can do, like, when you're on planet, whatever.
Yeah.
I would have loved this as a video game. I would have been...
Yeah,
had a great time.
that's so true.
You could have had, like, and then, like, the little side quest. Speaking of video games, we gotta talk about it. Why was this just the same as The Last of Us? This is the same as The Last of Us. Pedro Pascal gets injured. He's in a coma, and his magic baby child has to survive on their own for the first time, and finds a magic medicine that magically wakes him up from his coma, and he's all good now to come back and save the day and kill all the bad guys. Mm-hmm. This is The Last of Us. It's The Last of Us, guys.
It is a very similar situation.
They just stole it, and, like...
And didn't do it as well, because I believe Joel does remain, like, he can feel the injury, and he does have to continue to deal with that for a while.
Yeah.
In the show, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, to be
In
fair,
the
yes,
game,
in,
not so
in the
much.
game it's less so, baby. I can't remember if it slows you down a little bbit as he's trying to fight his way to her in that sequence, but...
That I don't remember. Either way, that made me laugh a lot, because I was like, okay, we're just doing The Last of Us again. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to have some tension here? For like 5 seconds, I genuinely thought they were gonna kill the Mandalorian, and I was so impressed with their gumption. I was like, oh, we're making big moves? We're doing big stuff? And then they didn't. And I was like, damn it, I should have known.
That's
Cowards.
Yeah, no, I knew that wasn't happening, especially because I know that Grogu has healing powers. I was like, his ass is fine.
But,
Yeah.
like, for a second, I thought they were gonna go for it. I thought they were gonna be brave and do something real, and no. Because, like, having
I
him
knew
die, and then having Grogu have to figure the shit out on his own 100%, that would have been cool.
I saw people saying, like, the movie's fun, but it has no character development before I went into it. So I was like, obviously he lives through this. Like, they're not... And like, we know there's more show and movie for The Mandalorian. You can't kill the main character off before you're actually done with this story.
Well, Grogu could be the Mandalorian now.
I mean,
That would be
I guess,
hilarious.
but, like, they would never. He's too much of a moneymaker.
I think, but, well...
Like, this is why they couldn't leave Grogu with Luke, either. Like... Neither of these
Yeah.
characters can get written out or killed. Like, they have to stay in for money purposes.
They have to...
The other thing I want to say about Rada is that he was apparently chosen specifically because of the memes and jokes that people were making regarding Baby Yoda back in 2019 about how Rada was some fans' like actual favorite Star Wars alien baby. And they just thought it was kind of funny that people were like, "Oh, you think Baby Yoda's, cute? Look at Baby Jabba." And this was like a fun joke that people were passing around,
yeah, I
like
do
real
remember this.
fans.
Yeah, okay.
like people were
Hilarious.
like real fans know Baby Jabba, and apparently obviously like Favreau saw it or something and thought it was hilarious, and that is why they picked Rada.
I don't hate that choice.
No, it's
Like,
fine.
I think it's fun to have a Hutt character that is not evil. That's fun.
I agree with that, but I do think that it's a little annoying that was why they picked him rather than any
Well,
actual
yeah.
thematic connection between Rada and the Mandalorian characters or the story that they want to tell in the movie. And essentially it means he was chosen because it didn't actually matter who they picked, and they just thought it would be
Yeah.
funny. And so
I
that
think-
tells me that your story is meaningless.
I enjoyed Rada and Grogu's connection. I thought they were sweet.
Sure, I think you can make connections, but I don't think... But, like, I wish that
not
was
organic.
why they picked it.
I think, like, going back to, oh my god, are they gonna kill the Mandalorian? This felt so much like a kid's movie to me. Like, all of the fight scenes, they were very well done. I was much less impressed with them than you guys were, I will say, because he does the same thing every time. And I'm like, that's great. True. But, like, all he's doing is throwing people across the room, which also, like, listen, the first scene coming in and, like, taking out all the, like, AT-ATs, that's great. I loved it. And then he just continued to fight that way for the rest of the movie. And I was like, but I've watched this scene 10 times already. Like, can we do something else? Anyway, there's no gore. He's, like, backed up against the wall.
Star Wars never has gore.
Well, yes, but, like, he's backed up against the wall using a flamethrower and is not lighting on fire himself. And, like, there were no... Because of how, like... If people died, it wasn't because he, like, shot them necessarily. It's because they, exploded in, like, a big crash. And so I was like, there are no stakes to this movie. Oh no, he's poisoned. Okay, he's gonna force heal him. Oh no, it didn't work. Okay, well, I don't know what's gonna work. I don't know why we have to sit here while we figure this out. Anyway, okay, I can't talk about pacing yet.
We'll get there. We will get there. The last thing I want to say with cameos, just because I got to see Anthony Daniels in person, and he was asked if he was going to continue his streak of having some sort of cameo or appearance in every single Star Wars movie to date, and he obviously could not say it yet, but he did. He was the voice of the droid ships when you arrive on Nal Hutta. So Anthony Daniels maintained... Yeah, so you know when they fly to Nal Hutta, those two little ships that come in, and they're like...
Yeah,
they're like... Well, they might be B2s in there, but it's just whatever's in the ship. The ship might be just, like, remote piloted to begin with, but...
They're like,
But yeah, they're like, hello, please state your name and, purpose for being here. You can land on blah, blah, blah. That was Anthony Daniels. So Anthony Daniels, still the only actor to have appeared in every single Star Wars movie to date.
Good for him.
All right, moving on to the story, because we clearly have tons to say about this. Were there any themes or messages in this movie, guys?
No.
Well, moving on.
No, the message is, I'm my own man.
That is a recurring theme. It's generous to call it a theme.
I didn't say it was a theme. I said it was a message.
That's true. You can come out from behind your father's shadow.
I guess.
There you go. And that's not true for Grogu. He can't do that.
Absolutely not. His ass is stuck behind Din forever.
He's stuck to his shoulder forever. He is never getting out.
No, this is so true. All right, moving on to character motivation then, since we have nothing more to say about themes. Do you feel like the character motivations were fairly clear?
Yes.
I felt like yes, because they're extremely simplistic, so they're made extremely
because everyone
obvious.
Is wearing their heart on their sleeve at all times. Yeah.
Yeah. The Republic wants information, Brada wants to be free, Din wants to hunt bad guys only. Done.
Yeah.
Nobody had a real character arc except for Rada, from my perspective.
Yeah, Rada goes from wanting to make his own money and live on his own to wanting to do good things in the galaxy. We're very proud of him and his growth.
It's minimal to Nat's thing. Like, I think it's relatively minimal, but he's very, like, doesn't want to work with anyone else. He's very lone wolf at the beginning, and then as he kind of works with Din and Grogu at the end, he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm more of a team player now. I'll work with the New Republic. And so there's a little bit of that, like, I'm about me and only me because no one else is in my corner, to, like, working with other people does provide good results. And that he's more, because people will come back for him, and so he wants to, kind of be that for other people as well. There is some of that, but pretty much everyone else is static. Mm-hmm. The only thing someone tried to point out is that Grogu maybe is getting some sort of weird growing up storyline, but it's treated like a running gag, and it's the bit with the buttons on the Razor Crest.
Okay.
Yeah.
The movie is, so he presses the buttons on the ship and sets off missiles instead of turning on the ship. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, Mando's like, come sit on my lap and you can drive. And then he presses one button. I thought he was going to be like, I thought we were going to fade out and he was going to be like, this is what this does. And this is what this does. But he's like, press a button and that will take us into hyperspace. Even though, is that how that has ever worked? I thought there was a lever that took us into hyperspace.
It has
in
been
every other Star
in the
Wars.
Past. It usually is a lever, but it doesn't bother me that it's a button. It's like different ships do different things, especially.
I think it's dumb that that's a button.
It's fair.
That's a dangerous thing to have a button for. You accidentally press a button, and now you're going through, what's the name of you're gonna do a holdo maneuver, like, accidentally? Girl, stop it.
Can you tell
Anyway.
we've recently talked about the sequels?
Grogu's intelligence is like not. It's very inconsistent. Like either he's smart enough to lead a bunch of other people on a quest to like rescue Mandalorian, or he's not smart enough to push the correct buttons to start the ship up.
Yeah, so Grogu shifts between 3 separate characters. One is beloved pet, who's literally told to heal.
Yeah.
That
So
was
a couple
times.
crazy.
It's
That
really
was
cringe.
insane.
Yeah. Or a 5-year-old who is, like, just doing baby shit, and it's like, yeah, he's a 5-year-old, he's just doing 5-year-old baby shit. Or a, like, 10 to 12-year-old where he is capable of doing some stuff. Yeah. So
I would say
yeah.
2-year-old. 5 is too old. 2.
Yeah.
Okay, a 2-year-old
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, so there's like Grogu shifts between these kind of 3 characters, basically depending on what they want the humor to be, as opposed to like any actual coherent character work. And that it's through his dynamic with Din. Like Din treats him in different ways, and the narrative follows the way Din treats him. It's very frustrating, and so he can't really grow as a character because they haven't decided whether Grogu is a pet, a baby, or like a preteen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it's very inconsistent, and so you can't figure out like where he's going.
And it's not just Mando. Like in when he's talking to Ahsoka and Luke, they both treat him like he is an intelligent preteen.
Yeah.
They are both acting like this is a person they can have a full conversation with and who understands greater themes and like bigger problems in the world. And then when we're back with Grogu, he's like upset he can't have another cookie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, when we're back with Mando, he's upset he can't have the cookie. It's
Yeah.
just, it's so... I want a consistent character. I want a consistent character so bad. And I don't mind that he doesn't talk, but not to be a nerd, but this should be more like Sky Song, where she can't talk, but like she's intelligent and you can have a conversation with her and she follows directions perfectly fine. And she might be a child, but she's not stupid. And instead...
For context, we're talking about a character from the Tamara Pierce novels, The Immortals Quartet.
Which, if you haven't
she's
read,
a baby
go
dragon.
do that. Yeah, she's adorable. And she's a baby dragon. She can't talk. But she's so smart. She's not really supposed to be more than, like, the equivalent of, like, 4? Maybe?
At best.
At best? She's really young.
Yeah,
But
well, I
she's
mean, she
not-
only is 4 years old by the end.
Yeah.
Like literally, chronologically, she only is 3 or 4 years old by the end.
Yeah, she's literally so small. But, like, she's still smart and is still, like, able
Yeah.
to do things. And she's not a pet. She's a person. And Grogu is not like that at all. And I just feel like, for one of the biggest franchises in the world, we could have some character consistency. Just some.
We could absolutely have some character consistency and character growth, but you have to figure out where he is in order to develop him somewhere. And I would have loved that. I would have loved like more focus on the fact that Din is now supposed to be training Grogu. Like that was a whole thing at the end of season 3, is that he intentionally takes Grogu on as an apprentice. I mean, he officially adopts him too, but like he adopts him so that Grogu can become a Mandalorian apprentice. He's supposed to be in training to be a Mandalorian warrior, but we don't even see him doing like non-force related fighting. He's pretty much using like exclusively force related abilities, which he has to have learned from Luke because Din can't teach him these things in order to fight.
Or he's doing a big super jump out of the way of the fight. And then
Yeah, which is still
jumping
using a
back
force
onto
ability.
his shoulder. And that's it.
Yeah. So
Yes,
everything
but
he's
like
doing
not
is
fighting
using...
with it, just hiding.
True, yes. So his style, the style that he uses during fights is all force abilities.
Yeah.
The one thing that he does without the Force is with the bomb. He uses a bomb, and that's not with the Force. Very proud of him for
But he
setting
just
a bomb.
like literally lobs one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
But yeah, there's not a lot of real training that we see going on, and like you could have used the button gag as more of something like that, where like Din is saying like, no, we went through this, I've told you this, it should be these things, you know, like that, like there's an indication of like, I've been training you, you know, and so Grogu does know some things, but is still learning, right? Like you could get some of that, you know, or like, you know, an indication of like, oh, I've been teaching you about medicinal stuff, you know, to lead into like what happens when Din is poisoned, so that, you know, he can like be wandering around trying to find things, or like what happens if you're alone, I've been training you about how to manage if I'm out of the play, right? Like, if I get injured or killed, what do you do, right? Like, something like that, so that, like, there's an indication of, like, the thing he learned here helps him here. And he grows by having to actually enact it. But we don't get that at all. It's just a running gag. And he's no different after Din is healed than he was before. And that dynamic doesn't change.
No, not at all.
Also, we did not get a post-coma hug. And how dare they?
That seemed out of character.
Yeah.
Because they were really, like, it's fine.
I think the funniest thing for me is trying to figure out how Din managed to get himself out of the little mud hut. without destroying the hut or waking Grogu up.
Yeah,
because Grogu's like tucked under his arm, which means he has to have kind of like kind of gotten himself up and out of the way, and then just like scooched on his ass.
Just used his heels, just like.
It was such a weird, like, post-coma is such a weird choice because they don't hug and they've been very touchy the whole movie. And also, like, Grogu, like, is he really, like, I mean, yeah, he force heals him, I guess, and, like, brings him back to life. And then Din is, like, now, like, the father takes care of the child and then the child takes care of the father. This is the way. And I'm like, we didn't need to say that right here. That was so awkwardly shoved in. You were like, shit, we gotta say the thing. Fuck! Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. I was, like, convinced that was going to be a dream and that he was going to wake up and Din was going to be awake, but, like, still injured. Because it's so brightly lit and very golden-y. Like, it had such a dream quality to it. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be, like, Grogu's dreaming, and Din is perfect, and he's awake, and there's no problems at all. And then they just kept moving, and I was like, oh, no, that was real.
No, that was just real. Yeah, it's fine.
Especially also because of the question I had about how the fuck this man got out of the mud hut. I was like, obviously, it's a dream. Logic doesn't matter in a
dream. It would have been so much funnier if he had, like, woken up from that dream by Din waking up and, like, breaking the hut as he tries to sit up. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Like, they should have done that. There wasn't a lot of world building stuff. Like, we got told that the New Republic is now going after Imperial warlords intentionally.
Sure.
Hard to tell why they might be doing this. There's no mention of Thrawn. The Hutts, I'm actually very annoyed about how the Hutts were treated. They're working with the Empire still for some reason, which makes extremely little sense because the Hutts have been shown consistently to work with whoever in the galaxy has the most power or is winning or is in charge at the moment.
Which is not the Empire.
Yeah, so by all rights, they should actually be siding with the New Republic instead of selling the New Republic out to the dregs of the Empire, especially if we assume that the Hutts theoretically have no idea that Thrawn is here or on his way. Like, they would have no reason to be, involved in that plan. So, like, they can't be going, oh, well, we know that there's a big guy coming and he's going to knock out the New Republic, so let's us align ourselves with the new upcoming winners. So, like, it makes no sense for the Hutts to not be aligned with the New Republic as allies at this point. And this feels kind of similar to, I think, Faye's frustration in the Ahsoka show about the Night Sisters siding with Thrawn, despite often being shown as a little bit more neutral and willing to kind of, like, side with whichever one benefits them most in the moment in prior media. And so the Hutts and the Night Sisters are just being reduced to, like, siding with the villain because they've kind of been villains in the past rather than because it makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then the last little world building thing I had was about the Mandalorians and specifically the Children of the Watch. We did discuss this a little bit, but we've actually discussed it a couple times now. But the fun little loophole introduced where Din can remove his helmet if everyone who saw his face gets killed. This is a rule that was made up for this movie specifically to be able to show Pedro's face in future stuff. But it does, it is a retcon, and this just is what it is. Nothing new was really introduced to the world at all. It's all pretty much the exact same shit we've known before. So we are now at pacing and structure. Nat, I think you had a pacing note that you wanted to that you were waiting to talk about.
Listen, I think that this movie had the potential to be fine. Unfortunately, I do think that it would have worked as a video game because here's the thing: we start with so much action, awesome. Great sequence to start with. Mm-hmm. And then he goes back to his little, like, rebel planet and gets a new mission, and then he goes to do it. Awesome. Great. We have more action. He has some fun, like, fact-finding mission type stuff. We rescue Rada the Hutt. That's awesome. And then we pause for 10 minutes where nothing happens because he decides not to take Rada back. And then Mando gets captured, which, by the way, how the fuck does he get captured? Because we have been watching him for like an hour and a half easily take out 10 guys at a time. Mm-hmm. Like, absolutely no problem. And then one bounty hunter,
you're not allowed to
campaign,
beat the Filoni samurai self-insert.
He just shows up and just kicks his ass, no problem, takes him away. And then we have some, like, a lot of puppet work of Grogu and his little friends going to the planet, which is very cute, but it takes a while to, like, lead up to rescue him. And then we have a lot of action all at once. And then 20 minutes of Grogu versus Wild for no fucking reason. And then, a random crocodile man who's just there.
Gatory. And
we know, an alligator man who's there for no fucking reason. And, like, some more action to wrap it up. And in a video game, like, big fight thing and then some, like, exploration and then fight and then exploration works. In a movie, I'm checking my watch an hour in going, we just wrapped it all up. What are you going to do from here? And then I didn't care about anything else. Like, the first hour, I would give probably 4 stars. The second hour and a half or whatever, I had no idea what was going on at any moment. I was like, where are we going with this? Why are we sticking here? Why is Grogu here for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to heal him? I don't believe he's going to die, so this is not interesting to me. Like, it could have been cute. Yeah. We took so long. For no reason.
I completely agree. I mean, I felt like I just kept waiting for it to end. I feel like the Nal Hutta sequence took forever.
It took so long.
Like, from, Din getting captured to, talking to the Hutts and then getting dropped in and having to fight the snake and then having to escape. And then, oh no, the ship is very obviously too small.
Yeah.
And so then he's, having to run off again, and then he's almost dying, and then Grogu comes back, and then he's in a coma, and Grogu has to deal with all of that shit for a while, and he's finding the swamp shaman, and oh no, he's almost discovered with the swamp shaman, but he's not, and then they have to go back and do the final battle.
Anyway.
And, like...
I don't...
Yeah. So it's a whole... Like, it takes forever. And yeah, like, I was, like, hitting the end of the Rada stuff and going, like, where are we going from here? Like, you've kind of finished up the storyline. And then they just spent an hour on Nal Hutta dealing, like, with going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth,
Yeah. And the stakes that you established with this Imperial guy that he's now showed up, like, we've resolved the overarching thing for the movie, because I didn't think, like, we didn't talk about how, I mean, he does have a line that he says to Grogu, like, by the way, the Hutts are bad news, so, like, be careful. And I'm like, okay, I forgot about the fact that you could just tell us what's going on. You didn't have to show us, I guess. It's just, and it's completely unclear to me how fucking long he is unconscious, because they find the ship that the droid was trying to help Rada escape on, and it's, like, overgrown. I can't tell if it's just crashed.
They're in a swamp, so, like, that tends to, like, degrade pretty quickly.
Like, within hours, within days, within weeks? Is he unconscious for months?
I assumed it was
Well, no, but the droid would have crashed before Din ever got there, because...
Yeah, but, like...
By a couple of hours, yes, but...
Yeah.
Well, no, because they would have to get the information, and then they would have had to hire the guy. Sorry, he had to go get the guy, get him to the thing, they had to crash it, and then he had to come back to, like, get, Grogu.
Rada?
And Rada, because they had to get Rada too.
I think there is, like, an ellipsis of a couple of days in here, in that middle portion where you were saying they're not doing anything.
When they're, like, fixing the ship and stuff, I think that takes, like, a week.
Oh, okay.
That might be a couple of days to a week.
Yeah, because they had to go get Rada and crash the ship to get him. So that takes a little bit longer.
Unfortunately, Embo's getting paid for none of this work.
No, he got paid.
Did he get paid?
He got paid when he delivered Din. They gave him a bag of money.
Oh, Embo.
The samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah, did they say his name at any point?
I don't... Yeah.
No, I know his name is Embo.
Maybe the Hutts.
The Hutts
might say it when they're like, save us, and he's like, just leaves. which is based,
valid.
honestly.
I think they say bounty hunter, actually.
Yeah, I might say bounty hunter. Yeah, they may not know his name.
I don't think they say his name.
Yeah, I happen to know that it's Embo, but
Okay.
Yeah.
it's because he's showed up. This is like when I say he's Filoni's self-insert, I mean that he has voiced the character in the Clone Wars cartoon show. So this is very much Filoni's character that he already voices. And he does have a name and has showed up several times. This is a character that has been a bounty hunter who's been in a couple of different things.
His dog was
and
cool. I liked his dog.
Apparently this is a new dog. So we're going to touch on the dog for a second. So this is a different dog from the dog that was in... It is apparently a different dog, and Filoni would like to make an entire movie about what happened to the first dog.
Why?
Because it's Filoni, and he doesn't care about making good stuff.
Well,
I thought it was the same dog. I was like, cool,
the thing,
it's the same dog.
I did
thing
too,
about
but
the
apparently it's
dog
not.
is that they have the dog shows up and he's very scary, and he captures one of the little guys, and it's like terrifying. Oh my god, he's gonna die. But then he just like plays with him and is not hurting him at all. The little guy is totally fine, not injured whatsoever. And then when Grogu is hiding while this bounty hunter is talking to the like alligator.
Gatory.
Yep.
Gatory.
Yeah. The gator guy. I don't know. They don't say his name, probably. That's none of my business. He could have been cool. I just don't know why he showed up like an hour and 45 minutes into the movie and then just like
Also, what
really...
the fuck is this random swamp shaman doing in the middle of Nal Hutta? Like,
yeah,
why are you here?
completely unexplained. But then the dog like can't sniff out Grogu? What do you mean, girl? Like, you've already established that he's not a threat. Yeah, I don't know.
What is the point of capturing an Enzellan? Like,
Are those little guys?
Yeah, the Enzellans.
Okay.
Are the little mini engineers.
I don't know them. I did like them. They were very
They're from
cute.
The Mandalorian season 3. They have a whole backstory with Grogu.
Okay.
Which is why they're like, oh no, it's the baby, and they're running off when they see him because he's had interactions with them in the past, or he's been kind of just like
and tried to eat
them.
them probably.
I don't remember if he tried to eat them, but he was just kind of playing around with them, and he is obviously slightly bigger than they are. But anyway, yeah. So convenient, random, compassionate swamp shaman is convenient.
Yeah.
Was kind of how I put that one. Convenient healing is convenient. Din is not only healed essentially overnight from the poison, despite us being told that it may already be too late.
Also,
but he's completely healed with zero indication of any remaining fatigue or pain from either the wound itself or the effect of the poison on his body, which I actually pointed out here that both of these things feel very video game-esque.
Yeah.
Gatorade feels like an NPC.
Yep.
He does. He super does. Why are the Hutt twins so adamant that he not escape when they have already said the poison will kill him soon anyway?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's very much an honor thing for them, but I don't...
Girl, why do you care if you think he's gonna die? Because he's not gonna die. Because this is a movie made for kids.
Yeah. I was wondering why Grogu and the Enzellans didn't just go straight to the New Republic to begin with, as opposed to going to Nal Hutta first, when they should have all been pretty perfectly fucking aware that Din was not going to be able to fit on their ship.
Because Grogu is being 2-year-old child right now, and not thinking.
To have occurred.
But there are 3 Enzellans who are full adult Enzellans, like they're fully engineers. They work with ships all the time. They would be extremely aware that Din is not going to fit on this ship with them, so what the fuck is the point of going to Nal Hutta to try to rescue him when clearly they know exactly where the New Republic is and they can go there and ask for help? Yeah. Why wouldn't you just do that to start with and get their help and go there to rescue him from the New Republic? I also was like, why wouldn't you go to like, I don't know, Bo-Katan and the Mandos?
I also am not sure. Well, okay, you could argue that the little guys are just like, fuck Din. I don't know. We're gonna get our guy back.
Yeah,
and like they're not really concerned with Din at all. But then they go with Grogu like into the tunnels and stuff to go find him.
Yeah,
because they get their guy back and they all go to get Din.
Yeah.
They clearly care about bringing Din back, but like, no one realized.
What if there was like a shrinker on the door the whole time that was just going to make Din small and he just like didn't get on the ship? And they're like, I guess he wants to stay.
He's so stupid.
Except that like they go get the New Republic to come back for him anyway, so clearly they know he doesn't want to stay.
I don't know. Well, I mean, Grogu stays, so like I guess we'll have to come back for Grogu.
I guess. I already mentioned I don't understand how Din got out of his mud hut. There's obviously zero connection to the Ahsoka show or Rebels, no discussion of any of those characters, despite Zeb being in the film pretty significantly, which leaves Zeb as a new character, with zero backstory for anyone who doesn't know anything about Rebels. We talked about how Grogu is treated like a dog, which I didn't like. We talked about how Din doesn't appear to be teaching Grogu anything. We never see him stop to try to show Grogu how to do something. And like he mentions once that he showed Grogu where some of the buttons in the cockpit were and how they worked, but either Grogu hasn't retained that information and it's not something that they've worked on very much, or it just wasn't actually like anything he spent time on. But also, like, if we think about it, like, when was the last time he would have done that? He's been using a new Naboo starfighter until 2 days ago.
Well, they've been fixing the ship for like a week.
Would he have taught Grogu
not before
on the old
that
ship
moment
that was
happens.
Yes,
but that would have been a while ago. There's a whole several years that pass between 2 and 3. So, like...
Maybe all the controls on every single ship are all the same
They're
time.
all the same.
Except this one doesn't have a lever.
It's a button instead. I don't know why I'm hung up on the button, you guys.
I'm hung up on the button in the sense that, like, Grogu should be able to manage this better, but also he's like, I showed you where they were, and I'm like... What, 3 years ago? Maybe, if you're lucky. Grogu never even seems to use his Force abilities as a weapon, like throwing people or things around. Like, he moves himself, he'll pick something up, right? He picks up the mouse droid, but he doesn't seem to use his Force abilities as a weapon the way we see, like, other Jedi do. And in a way that, like, you would assume Din might kind of start to pick up on and try to help him with. Obviously no character development, which is very unfortunate. No connection to the Great Omandoverse storylines. This theoretically makes the film more accessible to non-show watchers, and it means that, like, if you are a show-only watcher and you don't want to watch this movie, then,
no worries.
No worries, you didn't miss anything. But it means that the film can't explore anything meaningful, because that would be something they'd be committed to later. We talked about how there's no backstory given for the new character Colonel Ward. Would have loved more insight into who she is and what part she played in the rebellion. Any relationships she might have had with known characters like Luke or Leia or Hera. The Hutt twins mentioned that, we talk about the retcon, but the Hutt twins mentioned that they know removing Din's helmet would bring him shame because an enemy saw his face. But, like, 99% of Mandos do not follow this rule. Like, the primary amount of Mandos have no issue with the removing of the helmet. It's just Din and his extremely small, very hidden covert. So why do the twins even know this? Why would the twins have this information to begin with? Like, it's really weird information for them to have. And just knowing that Din is specifically from that covert as opposed to just being a regular Mandalorian. Like, where would you have that information? So I just don't understand that. Zero connection to Din's Mando heritage other than him being called Mando. Like, he could be anything for all you cared. But the fact that he is a Mandalorian does not tend to come up very much. I was like, kind of considering, I was like, well, this would have required a lot more explanation for casual fans. If they wanted to do a Lost Heir storyline, guess who the fuck was right there and would have connected a lot more to the Mandalorian storyline? Mr. Corky Kryze. Mr. Disappeared into the ether himself.
That you still trying to put Corky Kenobi back in the movie.
Corky Kryze back in the movie. I will put Corky Kryze back in the movie. Corky Kryze is clearly a Lost Heir. Where the fuck did he go? He was right there as an obvious, like, Mando-connected Lost Heir storyline. But, like, and he's from the exact same show as Rada. Rada was also from Clone Wars. So it's not like you're pulling from anything more niche than you already pulled from. Like, I don't understand. And then the last thing I have here, this is my pissed off bit with the ending. I hate that they blew up the huts. I'm so mad that they blew up the huts. Because we're shown quite a few huts in that building. Like, Nat, I don't know if you were counting or if you remember, but there's probably at least 10 huts that were shown. Just kind of lounging around in that palace or whatever.
As he's walking in to talk to the twins, he passes multiple rooms of people.
Yeah, that have multiple huts in them. Mm-hmm. There's at least 10 to 15 other huts who just seem to be living in this structure. We don't really know who they are or what they do, but they seem to just be kind of chilling there. And the Republic just comes in and takes Din's order to blow the entire building, theoretically murdering every single Hutt in that area. Everyone in that building just got killed, despite the fact that, as far as we know, only the Hutts are fucking with them. Only the twins are fucking with them.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know anything about the other Hutts.
Yeah, that sequence is so stupid because he's like, I need you to blow up my location. And Sigourney Weaver is like, I can't give that order. He's like, don't worry, I'll be out. And she's like, okay, never mind, I guess I'll give that order. He has no idea how close they are. They could have fired immediately after he said that, and he would have died.
Well, and it's
like,
indicated...
what?
I don't really care about Din, but like, I'm more fussed that the New Republic is hearing, I need you to commit a massacre for me right now, and their only issue with that is that it might kill him.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to commit a massacre right now. And like, yeah, the Hutts might be working with the with the Empire, but as far as we know, that might just be the twins. And even if that's true, or even if it's all of them, that doesn't actually justify a massacre. It doesn't. Yeah. I'm sorry. It doesn't actually justify a massacre. Like, it doesn't make it okay. Maybe there are other Hutts wandering the galaxy, and so this wasn't a total genocide, but I don't know how many Hutts there actually are in the galaxy.
Well,
I don't know what the total...
Around.
Yeah, there's one.
That's it.
Like...
Well, I mean, it's not like they need other people. They self-replicate, so he's fine.
It's perfect. He'll continue their
but that
line.
doesn't make it not potentially still a genocide.
No, this is extremely bad.
You could argue that in their coming back in, because when they come back in the second time, we don't see other Hutts. You could make the argument that Din has already sussed out that everyone has evacuated because they didn't want to be where the gunfighting is happening, because there has been several gunfights since then. But we don't see that.
That's generous.
They don't say that. He doesn't say, hey, this palace is empty except for the twins, blow this shit up. Like...
Also, it wouldn't make sense to blow it up if he isn't assuming that there's other Hutts in it, because at this point, the twins have already, like, been eaten by the dragon snake.
What he's blowing up
why
is the
else
droids.
Would you... Oh, that's true. He's blowing up the droids.
There's, like, a bunch of droids after him, and they're big droids.
That's true. He's that's why he asks her to blow it up, is because there are too many droids after that, and he can't take them all, even though we've seen him take them all.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Are the AT-ATs the really big ones, or are they the little guys?
The AT-ATs...
The AT-ATs are the walkers, like the full, walkers.
With the 4.
They're not the chicken guys.
Okay.
The AT-ATs are the big
They're not the chicken guys. Okay, we saw him take out literally 3.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, and now he's like, there are too many droids. Girl, no there aren't. You can't have both.
That's true.
You either can't handle this.
You have a bunch of bombs on you. You're fine.
Yeah. Also, like, we saw you go take this Imperial guy from his manor, even though that was filled with people. And that wasn't a problem for you. So this is, like, you can't suddenly be like, there are too many droids, let's just blow up this.
Also, you don't need to blow up the building to get out of the building. Like, they get out of the building just fine without the building needing to be blown up.
They could have just jumped, yeah.
They could have just jumped. But, yeah, I was like, every other massacre, even of groups that have historically been treated as villains, is still treated like a heinous thing. Consider how the Tusken Massacre is treated. Like, that's a massive, dark move for Anakin. Even if you don't like the Tuskens, or if you agree that, like, the Tuskens, you know, deserve to be punished, maybe, but, like, or if you're mad about what happened to Shmi, which is valid, but, like, it's treated in the narrative as a bad thing for him to have done. And the same thing, I know neither of you have seen Bad Batch, but when the Kaminoan massacre, or essentially a Kaminoan genocide, happens, like, this is also treated as a bad thing. It's literally the Empire doing it, and it's treated as a bad thing, a villainous thing for them to do. And so the fact that this is now happening, like, where the Hutts just got massacred, and it's being treated as just a basic victory, a basic triumph, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like, nowhere else has that ever been true in Star Wars, even across... This pisses me off because it makes the New Republic look really bad, because they're just like, sure, yeah, we'll just massacre a bunch of people, who cares? And I'm like, A, shitty thing to massacre people. B, you are asking for information. Your whole thing is that you don't have enough information. And, like, if the Hutts are working with the Empire, guess what they have? Fucking information. Why aren't we trying to capture some of them?
Yeah, she gets mad at Mando at the beginning of the movie for not bringing the guy back alive because she's like, we need information.
People. And then she goes and massacres a bunch of Hutts who theoretically might have information.
In fairness, the twins are already dead, so they can't give any information. But
the twins are, but we don't know if it's just the twins involved in it.
There could have been money in that building. There could have been
so much evidence.
More information. There could have been credit sheets. There could have been like databases. We have no idea what was in there because they blew it.
Yeah, there doesn't appear to have actually been a need for the Republic to bomb the structure in order to help extract Din, Grogu, and Rada. And it makes them look really stupid, and it makes them look really vicious. All of which are bad. This was the worst possible way to end this movie, and I am so mad about it. I hated it a lot, and that took a really large chunk off of my score, because I thought that this was an extremely heinous writing choice that clearly got thought about for about 2 seconds, and that was it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you understood what was happening?
Yeah, like, how easy is it to understand for a casual fan? Too easy, because nothing matters or goes anywhere.
Great.
There's no substance to this.
So our last section is just to say something nice. So Nat, I'm going to make you go first because you had the most negative things to say. Say something nice about this movie.
My nice thing is, in order to understand my nice thing, you need to forget everything that Sugar just talked about. About the ending. Ignoring the very ending where they blow things up, I do love when X-Wings show up to save the day. That's classic Star Wars. I love the rebels coming in and all the pilots. I didn't necessarily clock that it was, like, probably the most diverse group, but absolutely that had an impact on me. I just, like, didn't consciously think about it. I was like, this looks like a group of people that I trust to show up and save the day. And that felt the most Star Wars to me, and I loved that moment. And then end right after they show up. Don't finish the scene on the planet. Just, like, they showed up to save the day, and that's great.
They show up, they extract, we're done. No one gets blown up.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I think I'm the most negative next. I liked the little bit where he's knocking on Din's helmet really fast. I thought that was a very funny little joke moment where, like, they're sitting in an AT-AT and the bombs are about to go off and Din is trying to, like, take out the Imperial Warlord and Grogu can't say anything because he's nonverbal, so he's just sitting there, like, you know, tapping on the back of Din's helmet. Is just giving, like, a little ding, 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 ding noise, and he goes faster when he starts getting more worried about it. I thought that was a very cute little joke.
That is fun.
And that's my nice thing to say. Faye, do you have a nice thing to say about this movie?
I liked when he was trying to put him in his hut. Grogu was trying to put Mando inside his hut, and he kept hitting his head against the tree. That was hilarious.
All right. So, those are our thoughts on this movie. Faye, would you like to give us a goat fact?
Sure. Goats are extremely resourceful, and they will find nutritious food. You might see goats in comics eating, like, tin cans and stuff, but that's not true. Goats are very picky. They will eat whatever nutritious things are around, which they'll eat tree bark, they'll eat grass, and they can survive on really thin patches of grass, so the only place they don't live are tundras, deserts, and aquatic habits. There are also some feral goats in Hawaii and other islands. So, just like us, goats live on the thinnest of feed.
Goats will not take your shitty tin cans.
We're surviving off of scraps from Disney over here. Just like real goats in real life.
Our intro and outro music is Mos Eisley Cantina by Speed Kicks. Angela and I edit, our artwork is by me, and Sugar is our writer and researcher. You can find us on Instagram and Tumblr at Unleash the Goats. Thanks for listening.